Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be doing my top 10 worst costumes. Now, I obviously initially started with my ranked costumes, where I went through and I ranked, all the characters who have have 5 or more costumes, and that was all the Simpsons family apart from Maggie and Grandpa, and Mr. Burns on top, because Mr. Burns actually has quite a few costumes for some reason, which is okay. But of course we obviously have some bad costumes. Now, some of the costumes that did feature in that ranked list do appear in here. Now, this is a really hard thing to do, and I know that people are going to have a completely different opinion, because really it just comes down to what I prefer the look of. I mean, the tasks and that, I mean, they come to something in the price of it, but at the end of the day, I really care about how it looks and how it kind of, how it plays. And also, what episodes it's from, is it a memorable episode, is it a memorable costume, is it significant in any way? All these kind of factors, they kind of have to play out. Now, these costumes, obviously, they're the ones I don't particularly like, or ones I thought would be a bit better, getting introduced, or maybe ones I think just aren't necessary. So anyway, just like an honourable mention or a dishonourable mention if you want, I've got the Santa Flanders. This one just missed my list. The reason that it only just missed my list is really, apart from obviously, now the Santa Flanders is just a repeat of the Santa Homer, which kind of annoys me because it's just a rehash of the same costume, just for Flanders. So I thought that was unnecessary. However, it did just miss my list because I think it is pretty cool to get a Santa Flanders anyway. It was pretty cool to get. But anyway, moving on. So number 10, I have gone with Magic Act Millhouse. Now, this is the most recent costume on this list. The reason I put it here is, I mean, excuse me, honestly, it's just a bit boring, really boring looking. However, I do like the tasks in it. It's okay, and to be honest with you, it came with the casino one. I think it was probably necessary as a prize because obviously the casino was a bit of a weird thing to pick, and obviously all the prizes were casinos. So I think it was okay to have another costume, and of course this was a prize, and it wasn't like a hard prize to get. So I think it was okay in that sense. However, the costume itself is a bit boring, so that's why it kind of got number 10 on my list. Number 9 on my list is Camp Bart. Now, obviously, Camp Bart was in my ranked one. You know what I feel about this one. I wasn't very happy with it. It just kind of looks. It's just very bland looking to me, and it came with the what's it called, Krusty thing. Camp Krusty, that's it. Came with Camp Krusty, and of course Camp Krusty was overpriced. It was 200 donuts for this and Camp Krusty, and it just wasn't worth it. The actual price of it is pretty appalling, I think. The costume itself isn't that impressive, and the tasks in it aren't that impressive. I just don't like it, and it was one that Camp Bart itself could have been avoided. They didn't have to do a Camp Bart. They could have added so many other characters with, Camp Krusty, because of course you have all these school students in the Simpsons, all these kids in the Simpsons, that are in the school, which they're gonna have to add later on anyway, like Richard and Lewis and was it Wendell, something like that. I think it's Wendell. Kids like this, and the problem is these kids obviously they don't really appear in any other buildings, but they have appeared in the background of buildings like obviously Camp Krusty. So it's one they kind of can add it with it. But of course they added Camp Bart, which kind of annoys me, and that's why the costume is a bit lower. The next costume is kind of one I'm a bit debating actually why I put on the list, but I've put Respectable Mo. I mean, the Respectable Mo, it was in an episode tie-in years ago, and I do remember it quite well. The reason I put it here is I do remember I was really annoyed with the costume because we got it, and it just didn't feel like enough. The episode tie-in, we got Respectable Mo, and there was a limo available that you could buy for so many donuts, and the tasks in the costume required that limo. Some of the tasks in the costume required the limo, so it required the premium stuff. There were some other tasks in there which required other premium buildings, and it just pissed me off that they made the tasks in it you could only do them with if you had premium items, which kind of annoys me when they do that, when they give us a free costume, especially when they make they make a premium character's costume a prize. That really annoys me, because it kind of like forces you to kind of buy the actual character to use the costume, which is really scummy in a way. Respectable Mo was the same sort of thing. It kind of forced you to buy the limo to actually continue with that story, and to go to that bit when he's in the limo, and that task when he's in the limo taking pictures, getting pictures taken from paparazzi. So that's why I kind of put that on there. The costume itself isn't that amazing, and honestly, it's not really like it's that significant. It's not from a really like famous episode or anything, which again annoys me. Number 7 is Cool Lisa. Now, I don't have to explain myself on this one. I think most of the guys who watch my channel probably know why I don't like Cool Lisa. It was like, when the Friend Prize was initially released, it was kind of like that not the last prize, but it was one of the later prizes you got when the Friend Prize was first released, and it just annoys me because it's nothing special. It's really bland. There's no special tasks in it, and it was just a throw on. It was in the files for years before. Well, I say years. It was in the files for a while beforehand, and they just kind of threw it in there really because they didn't know where else to put it. And it's just a really lazy costume in my opinion. And I just don't like it, and it definitely is the worst Lisa costume out there. Number 6, I've put Pin Pal Apu. Now, basically, the reason I put Pin Pal Apu is because, honestly, it's because it doesn't come with any Pin Pals. Now, when the Tap Ball event came out, I was presuming that it was going to come with more Pin Pals than just Apu, but it didn't. It just came out with Apu. Now, is that a really reason to justify the costume? I mean, maybe not, but it just really annoys me that there's a whole category for the Pin Pals, and it's just Apu in it, and it's just and the reason is that is the sole reason I'm putting it here, is because they didn't add any more costumes, so the costume to me is absolutely useless in Tapped Out because there's no other Pin Pals. It's just one, and that might be a bad justification for putting it there, but that's my justification. There's not really much more I can really say. I mean, the costume itself is really cool because it's from a really significant thing. It's like is it the B Sharps? I think it is the band that they're in. It's like in one of those groups, the bowling group. I think it's Homer. Is it Homer Apu? Is it Mo? I don't know. I can't actually remember the bowling group, the Pin Pal group. But it is a significant group of character. It's like kind of group of characters, and the costume would have been a lot better if it was added with more Pin Pals. So that's the reason it's kind of on the list. Number 5, I've gone with Boxing Dredrick Tatum. Now, the reason I put Boxing Dredrick Tatum is because you can see the skin for him, in his boxing uniform. You can see with normal Dredrick Tatum. If there's tasks in Dredrick Tatum's thing where you click it, and obviously you can see him in his boxing kind of outfit in the tasks of the normal Dredrick Tatum default costume, and the actual Boxing Dredrick Tatum for me just didn't seem necessary. They could have just kept it so they could have added the task. I know it was for the Tap Ball event and to make another character, but they could have just made it so if anyone purchased Dredrick Tatum or got Dredrick Tatum from the Whacking Day update, they could have obviously used him instead of actually using a costume. It wasn't necessary for him to actually have a whole new costume to obviously add him. I mean, it's cool to get it, but obviously it wasn't necessary. And this costume I don't really like to see because it's just like he's wearing shorts and boxing gloves, especially in the winter. It's like, God, you must be cold. Anyway, moving on. Number 4, I've put Ice Cream Man Homer. Now, a lot of people, well, I say a lot of people, but Apperson anyway disagrees with this choice, I think. Pretty sure. But basically, I don't really like the Ice Cream Man Homer because it obviously came in a really crappy deal update, and it just felt really forced, and it wasn't necessary in the updates. It's not like it came after an update where there was something involved with ice cream. It came after pretty sure it came after the herb stuff, Herb Powell stuff. So it was just really unnecessary. The costume itself isn't that amazing, and it doesn't have that amazing tasks, in my opinion. And I just think it was a waste of money, and it was just it was another really forced one, and probably definitely the worst Homer one out there. And it was weird. It's kind of weird because I'm going to say, obviously, because this is the worst. I've already labelled this as the worst. There isn't any other Homer costumes on this list, mainly because although Homer has so many costumes, Comparing them to some of the others, I honestly think they're pretty good. So I'll just say that. Anyway, number 3, I've gone with Tuxedo Krusty. Now I can tell that people are going to disagree with this one because reason I put it, there's so many other Krusty costumes out there they could have picked. And I know that the obviously I'm pretty sure the Tuxedo Krusty, did it come into the, what update was it actually? I'm gonna have to actually go quickly check. But I just don't think the costume itself is that amazing. I mean, there's lots of costumes that Krusty could have come with, and they chose this as one of them, which really annoys me. Obviously, there is the Opera House Krusty, I'm pretty sure, as well. That one's okay, I guess. Obviously, Clown in the Dumps, it was promotional. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to why I put this here. It's badly planned, I know. Yeah, okay, I know now. So basically, it was obviously a part of this. It came with obviously the mansion. They didn't come with the mansion. It was a free costume, but it and obviously you could buy Krusty's Mansion for 115 donuts, and it was a promotional item. Now, I think the reason I put it here was really because it comes down to, again, adding other things. Now, at the start of this episode, Krusty's dad actually dies, and so that's obviously pretty sad. But the problem is it's like the Mac Raining update, for example. Like the one where they added Mac Raining. It was cool to get Mac Raining in the game, but that was meant to be Bender's. Really, that was where Bender was meant to be added, and that was gonna be so cool to have Bender in the game. And that's what I was hoping for, but obviously they added Mac Raining because they couldn't get the rights and all that, and they didn't want to pay for the rights. It's the same with this. Now, it's not because of rights or anything, but it's mainly because they could have added Rabbi Krusty Scoffy, they could have added, obviously, Krusty's dad, but they decided to cock out and they decided to add Tuxedo Krusty. And that's what kind of pisses me off about it. They could have added Tuxedo Krusty in the casino update, because obviously came back for the casino update, and they could have added it there, and they could have waited and added it there, but they instead randomly tried to throw it in here when it's not even like it's a necessary costume. It's not significant. It's like that'd be like adding the church clothes to the Simpsons family. It's not necessary to add the tuxedo, because we hardly ever see him in it, and when he wears it, it's not like he does anything so special. He's just like in a press conference or whatever you want to call it. Well, he's not in a press conference. He's talking anyway, talking to his audience. And the costume itself just isn't necessary, like I said. And they should have added Rabbi Scoffy with it, and they could have even added his daughter at this point, because his daughter wasn't in the game at this point. So there was so many other things they could have added with the mansion, or they could have just added alongside the mansion, and they could have just cut the costume out as well. And the costume was just a cock out again, which is why I don't like it. Anyway, moving on. I had to actually remember that reason. I don't always write the reasons down. My final, where are we? Oh no, number 2. Number 2 is Daredevil Bart. Now, Daredevil Bart again is the worst costume. Obviously, if you watched my rank list, you probably would have known that I'm putting this on. I don't like the Camp Bart costume, mainly just because obviously it comes down to obviously what it comes with, and obviously it comes with the Springfield Gorge, which I thought could have been added with so many other things. It could have been added with Lance Murdoch, and that would have probably made sense, to be honest. I mean, but it was 200 odd donut. I think it was 250. Was it 250 or was it 200? I don't know. But either way, it was overpriced, and it was a crappy little costume, and it didn't even do much. And it's not like it was. It is kind of a significant costume to the Simpsons, but it just wasn't done very well. And overall, I just thought obviously it was just it was another cop out. It was another cop out, yeah. To adding something cool with the gorge, or just adding the gorge on its own, and it was just something they threw in there as the sort of like the level premium thing, which I don't really like. I'm not really happy with them doing that most of the time, adding a costume as like the premium thing. So yeah, that's the reason I kind of don't really like the Camp Bart. I kind of explained it a bit more in my ranked list, if you go watch that. And anyway, my number 1. Can we do that drum roll? I've put the Wizard Martin costume. I know, really obscure one, really obscure one. Just out of nowhere, I've kind of thrown that in. Mainly, it was added on a Halloween. Obviously, there was a lot of terrible Halloween costumes. However, many of them didn't actually make this list. The reason I've put it there it comes down to, it's just, if you look at it, I mean, just look at it, it's just Martin with a hat and a wand, and that's all it really is. And that what's kind of, that is what annoys me about it, even. You know, I mean, it's not like, it's not unique in any way. I mean, the tasks in it aren't amazing. The quest line is awful. I mean, I actually had a little look at the quest line. I don't think any of the quest lines are that great, to be honest with you. But this one especially. And the fact is it was 75 donuts. That is what puts the cherry on the cake. It was just a Martin with a wizard hat, a cape, and a wand, and that was it. And it was just regular Martin. Apart from that, you know, the tasks are just like Ace and online fantasy driver test, and they're just not very good tasks, are they? And only 2 of them actually have a visual kind of look on it, you know. And overall, I mean, I think the thing on top of obviously the single combat on top of the Android dungeon, that was pretty cool to see. But apart from that, the costume is awful. Apart from that little animation, and overall, just a terrible costume, and I just did not like it at all. So anyway, guys, that is it for the full rank list. I hope you enjoyed it. So please tell me your top 10 worst even. Please tell me your top. I'm not gonna do a fully ranked costumes because that would. I mean, I could do it, but like, I can't be bothered. It's gonna take too long. It's like I might be doing anyway. I'm gonna obviously be doing my top best costumes soon. Obviously, I'll be continuing with my Springfield my Simpsons Tap ideas, as well as I might be doing top. Obviously, I always do the top kind of like top. I was doing the top 10 best characters and top 10 worst characters and top 10 best buildings and top 10 worst buildings for Christmas. However, I could have done one for Easter, but I didn't. I'm just trying to think what things I could do. I'm trying to think of videos I could do. Please leave video suggestions. I may be doing a top 10 level buildings, like buildings that have been added in levels. I might be doing I like to do the top 10 list. They're pretty cool to do and they're pretty fun to do. But any other suggestions that aren't about that, I might be doing some rant videos. You know, ranting about certain things in the game, some stuff like that, and discussing certain stuff. And obviously, yeah, and obviously when new updates come out, I'll be doing reviews on that, so we'll have to see. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed overall. Thanks for watching as always, and I shall see you next video. Goodbye.